Hello guys and gals on the internet, I'm Simikios of YouTube and Twitch TV, and this is a rarity as you know. It's a channel update today, 1st of November 2021, the first one I have made since we first moved into this house. And 2021 has been a strange year, as you guys would have known, with the move and every situation prior to that. This channel update has some good news and some more bad news, because myself and Tom Games just can't catch a break. So let's get the bad news out of the way first, shall we? There's two sides of bad news here. And the first bit of bad news is concerning the new PCs that myself and Time Lady were hoping to receive. At one point we were actually going to receive them this year, partially done, and then we were actually going to receive them next summer most likely, with them fully done. And now it doesn't look like we'll be receiving them at all. It's understandable when you think about it. Basically, we haven't heard from the uncle for a few months now, I think, and the last we heard was that the graphics cards were proving very difficult to get hold of, and the PCs were becoming very expensive to buy the parts for, and that's understandable, to be fair, because myself and Time Lady, we kind of thinking, how is he going to do it? You know, because he's not building a PC just for me, he was doing it for Tom Lady as well. So, we were kind of thinking, I wonder how that's going to turn out, because it's a lot of stuff he has to buy, and basically that's the case. Basically, the last we heard was the graphics cards were proving a bit difficult to buy, mostly because of the scalper scenario that has happened over the last year with the consoles, and the graphics cards have not escaped it. And basically, I think all the costs have mounted up to the point where he can't basically finish them and do them. I expected it, and we had said a couple of times, if it does get too much, tell us. And I think that basically is what happened. We haven't heard from him since, and obviously he has work commitments and stuff, and he had warned us of maybe a couple of other things that could put pay to this as well, and we just said to him, dude, if that's the case, that's the case, don't worry about it. And we haven't really heard from him since then, so I think we can assume that the PCs are not being done now. And the last thing I want him to do is to throw himself into money trouble, so it's no big deal, it's just how it is. You know, the family, and me and myself and all my family have never been really made of money. And the uncle has to pay for not only his own family but his own bills and everything. And yeah, we were so grateful the last time, because you know it probably cost a lot, and we were going to be so grateful this one, but this one's just not been possible. And with the scalpers making graphics cards very difficult to get and increasing prices and everything, it's just how it is. It's unfortunate. So basically, that now leaves me with a couple of alternative options. The one thing I'm definitely going to do is keep using this PC until it pretty much dies at this point. I'm just going to keep using it. I don't know whether to basically just use it strictly for the rest of recording and streaming purposes and go back to console. That could be one alternative, and just go back to console gaming. That could be one thing. And maybe like when this one dies, maybe just get a streaming recording specific PC and just go back to consoles for exclusivity sake. And you know, because if my uncle can barely buy a PC, then I'm gonna have no chance, because he's probably on more money than I am. So I'm gonna have no chance of getting one, you know what I mean? So that's one alternative. The other alternative is saving up over a period of time and then picking one up, because we do have a PC store where we live, and obviously there are PC stores like NZXT do builds. The one definite thing I'm probably going to have to do is get a pre-built one, because I can't build one myself. I mean, just the stuff I did to it recently, which I'll go into, wasn't difficult, but you've seen my scenarios with PCs. You've seen it, putting capture cards in and things like that. It takes a while. So actually building a PC would be not impossible, but we do. But getting a pre-built one is an option. We do have a PC store that would fit them, so that's another option. But the real problem would be getting the money together to buy one. So most likely what I might either do is get a pre-built streaming and PC one and use that for exclusive recording and streaming, and just go back to consoles in terms of the gameplay, or get a gaming one, obviously, but that might be a little bit out of my reach, or wait till this one dies, get a sort of semi-good laptop that can handle my capture software, and just go back to consoles and make some changes or whatever. But that will lead into a bit of an issue. The only issue with that is the F1 Rewriting History series, which we are currently in the 2011 season of. So my option at this point, depending on what gets done, my options are finish the Rewriting History series up to 2013 and go back to console for the rest, which I can do because I own pretty much all the F1 games through 2015 through 2021 except for 2020 on PlayStation, but I can get that through EA Play through other means that I'll talk about in a minute. So either do that or get a streaming PC that can handle F1 2011 through 13, finish the series up to 2013, and then go back to console for that version. It could be a multitude of things, because I think we're going to get probably more difficult to run as PC, a streaming PC, through maybe F1 2018, 19, 20. They could be a bit more difficult for that kind of PC to handle, depending on which one I get. But you never know, I might have to I might just do that anyway. It might just be easier. I might just get the ones through console and just do it that way, even if the PC can run them. That may be just not. There's quite a few alternatives for me to do. We'll just have to wait and see. But the one thing at the moment is to get at least F1 2013 completed before we can kind of weigh up the options when we get there. But that leads into the other section of bad news. This is what I was greeted with this morning when I booted up my PC. My streaming and YouTube specific hard drive has been pretty much wiped to the point where only a few things survived. Obviously the video I'm doing, and ignore that one, this is a retake. Basically all my streaming panels and things like that, and only some certain things in the Michael Schumacher years, say driver photos for the driver rundown and things like that. So as you can probably tell, almost the hard drive was wiped, and that basically means the F1 2011 season is going to have to be restarted, because at that point, and I think this only happened this weekend, I'm not sure, because I have not been on the PC for pretty much a week due to things that have happened that I'll talk about in a minute. But basically, F1 2011 is going to have to be restarted again, because before that happened, I'd already gone ahead and recorded the Spanish Grand Prix, which would be round 6 of the championship, but I never got to edit and put that together, and that was going to be one of my things to do this week, but unfortunately that happened. Things came and we set it all up, and that happened. So yeah, I'm not sure why that's happened. I could probably think of a couple of reasons, but the one thing I can be sure of is that it's nothing to do with a virus, because I used my antivirus to scan the PC this morning after this happened, and it picked up nothing. And that's the only really the thing I can think of. I didn't physically go in and delete it, because I've barely been on the PC to do that. The only way I've been on my PC this weekend, and obviously you guys noted the stream that I did on Curious Tick 2013 in that session with Ranger Sullivan. That's the first time I'd used the PC or turned it on in a while. So I'm not sure what happened. It's unfortunate, really. It just seems to have been completely wiped for some reason, and I've tried every possible way to get the files back, and I can't. I can't actually do it, or other stuff that has it is pay services, which I can't do, and I probably wouldn't trust those anyway. There's other ways that look a bit weird to me, so I don't really want to risk my computer getting a virus, even though I do have antivirus on my computer. I don't want to risk it because I've never really gone on anything that is, say, fishy or that could give you viruses in your PC. So I've never really actually actively done that. So it's weird. That's a weird one. It's unfortunate. I didn't physically go in there and do it, and every avenue to get them back doesn't work, or it's just the way it is. And it's no big deal because I wasn't really in the midst of a bunch of playthroughs anyway. The only ones I was doing was Fallout 1 2011, which I wasn't really that far into anyway, so that can be easily caught back up to. It's not like 2010 where I was in the middle of the season and lost it all due to a blue screen or something like that. I think I had a blue screen at one point. I had to reinstall my operating system. Well, that was one of the issues. It's not like that. It's not like I've lost half the season and have to do it all again and catch up. I don't. Fortunately, I only did like maybe 4 or 5 races, so that's easily recoverable. The other thing I was doing was the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and that's not really a big problem either. The only real problem with that is I did up to 28 videos in that playthrough, and I only reached 20 in terms of upload. So it's not a big deal because I can easily get back to where I was. All I got to do, there might even be a chapter select for the game. There might even be a chapter select for the game, which if there is, that's not bad. I can just pick up where I left off because at the end of part 20, I died to the Airbuster boss fight and basically went in just before to fight it again. So that's easily get back. That's easily get back if there's a chapter select. If not, I can restart from the beginning. Go up to that point, retrace all my steps, do all the side missions I did, basically do everything I did up to that point, and hopefully I won't be too either over-leveled or under-leveled by the time we get to the Airbuster again to fight it. So both those things are easily recoverable. It's no big deal. I wasn't really in the midst of anything anyway. It's just a pain in the ass that I've got to start F1 2011 again. But them's the breaks. I don't know what happened. It's bizarre. I've tried every avenue to get them back. It's not happening. So, yeah. Another problem with this PC, can you believe it? I don't know whether it's the PC saying that it's on its last legs or not, but it's just been so many issues with the F1 rewriting of history, isn't it? I've broke my own PC once or twice, and now then I had to reinstall the operating system, lost the file, then I had PC changes, and now this has happened. Basically, I probably have run out of things to happen to me, so finally, maybe this is the last thing I can do that will give me a problem when it comes to the rewriting of F1 History series, for goodness sake. Oh, man. I shouldn't laugh, but, it's not worth throwing a fit over. It's easily recoverable, easily get backable. So it just means I have to start things again. But, I got there once, I can do it again. So that's the bad news out of the way. So let's talk about some good news, shall we? And basically, this is another couple of layers to it. First piece of good news is that it's kind of in conjunction with the bad news from earlier. Basically, some time in the games over the last few weeks have been under the impression that maybe the PCs aren't happening now. And the uncle did say a couple of things that would probably make sense if that wasn't to happen. And we've noticed a certain item that has been in stock a lot recently. An Xbox Series S. Yes. Let's have a time that he bought one. Now, what we did was we bought it on a catalog deal, so we have to pay it off over a certain amount of time. But basically, there was a really good offer on the website we were on. And it was a really good offer. It was the Xbox Series S, FIFA 22 as a game you can have a code for and download it onto your Xbox Series S, and 3 months of Game Pass. And what we also decided to get with it was one of those expansion cards that you can put in the Xbox Series X or S to basically increase the storage, because the Xbox Series S in particular has a very woeful, 800 gig of space, and it's like, nah, that ain't it, chief. Why is it 800 gig? That makes no sense. So we definitely bought one of those expansion cards to increase our space overall to 1.5 TB. Because I think the expansion cards were, what was it from? Was it terabyte? Yeah, it was a terabyte, I think. And then the Series S's were like almost like 500, 800 gig, I think it was. I could be wrong. But basically, yeah, we got a terabyte and a half free of gig space. Free of gig space? Gigs of free space. Let me get that right. And basically, since this arrived last week, at the beginning of last week, I think it arrived. I can't even remember now. Shit. Basically, I've been spending the whole week downloading some games because our internet speed is not the greatest it used to be when we were in the old places. Basically, having a slower internet speed, and for some reason, the games have taken so long to download. I mean, to be fair, some of them have been like upwards to about 80 to 100 gig anyway, so it was always going to be slow. But even some like smaller games have taken a while to download. So basically, we've reached the point where we've downloaded everything. We've got FIFA 22, which was an absolute steal, and we also got 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate as well. So that gives us the backwards compatibility games for Xbox, because there's a whole catalogue of them, including one that will be very useful for an event that I'll do in the future. Game Pass Ultimate also gives you EA Play. So that is all the EA games that are pretty much on the playlist, or the vault as it's called. And also Xbox Live Gold, which is still a thing on Xbox, but I think only 3 Battle Royale games don't need it now, but we've got it in any case. We've also got Game Pass for PC, and we've got Cloud Game. All the benefits of Game Pass Ultimate is insane. And basically with Game Pass Ultimate, that means we can now do Halo 5 finally. Because that was one of the main reasons why we bought this. You know, we were already missing Halo 5. Now that gives like the Series X gives us a chance to finally do it, and basically play Infinite when it comes out as well, the next Gears, the next Forza, all on day of release through Game Pass without the need to buy the games. Now, yes, I know that most of the Microsoft exclusives are on Steam, but Game Pass is only on Xbox PC and Xbox consoles. So basically now we get to play the exclusives as much as we want, for as long as we want, because the exclusives, of course, last indefinitely, I think. So they last the whole time. Whereas some games will come and go off Game Pass. They only do it every 3 or 4 months, so there's plenty of time to play a game. Like Blood for Blood, for example, because that came out on Game Pass. Or Yakuza. Yakuza's on Game Pass, so that gives me that. And I've always wanted to get into the Yakuza series. Some other games I already have like bought through my own purchases. Now some of them actually don't work anymore, but that's because of the changes to the system, like software that Microsoft has had over the last couple of years. So some of them don't even exist anymore. Like say, what can example I could give? Sonic and Knuckles isn't available to get anymore because of the way they've changed it. But and also there is the Sega Collection on PC or on Xbox. I can get it for Xbox. Grand Theft Auto 4 is another option we could do now because and Bully, for example. It just opens up many more avenues that were previously like we didn't able to do. So it just gives us more games to play. And who doesn't like more games when you're a gamer like us, right? Like me, for example. Who doesn't like more games? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been something that we've been thinking about since the uncle called us and maybe said that the PCs weren't obvious now. So it's something we've been kind of giving some thought. And we'd already kind of maybe thought about it, maybe even before then, with like Halo 5, and for example. You know, because we always wanted to do Halo 5 on Summertime Mini Games. So, you know, it was just a no-brainer in the end. It was an absolute steal. We got FIFA 22, which means I can do the 2021 to 2022 football season, and you guys have already seen a preview of that, that I'll put in the card in the top right of the screen. It's going to be Conte's Arrival. There's going to be an introduction video to that in the near future, so keep your eyes out for that. Obviously, with EA Play, that gives me F1 2020 on the PlayStation, F1 2020 on the Xbox. I don't own F1 2020 on the PC, on the consoles rather. So if I do have to go back to consoles to play the rest of the F1 Rewriting History series, but I can get F1 2020 through EA Play on Game Pass, or Xbox. So, you know, it was just a no-brainer. It was just an absolute no-brainer. We got all sorts of stuff sorted. we spent the last week downloading the games we want. Basically, they're already done now, and basically that's why I haven't uploaded for a week, because I've been downloading the whole time. And basically, yeah, I came back to my PC today, found out that my hard drive's been wiped. So, it's easily gettable and recoverable through means of gameplay, so it's not a big deal. It's just something that happens. I may do something else in the meantime. I might take a bit more of an extended break now, because obviously the F1 2011 season has to be restarted. So I might take a bit of a break from recording things for a while for that reason. I'll put the introductory for for FIFA 2022 out, because that won't take too long. But for the F1 2011 season, I probably won't restart that now, because on November 13th, I'm assuming November 13th, will be the day that the latest update for F1 2021 will come out, and that will release the Jeddah circuit, which is ample time to start my commentator season on F1 2021. You guys know that's coming. That hasn't changed, even though the original videos that I already did, like the videos I already had, were wiped. Basically, I wasn't mid-race or had a race recorded that I didn't edit yet, unlike F1 2011. So I'm stupid on that regard, but at least that hasn't actually started yet. So, you know, we can still pick up from where we left off and it'll still be as it was. But of course, the Jeddah circuit doesn't release until the November update, which I'm assuming is the 13th of this month, considering the last two updates were September and October the 13th. I'm assuming the November the 13th will be release of the Jeddah circuit and the F1 2021, the F2 2021 teams and driver lineups that I'll probably do not much with, because, you know, Mick Schumacher's in F1 now, so, you know, I don't really need to watch F2 at this point, because apart from Mick Schumacher, there wasn't really anybody else I supported in F2, for obvious reasons, being a Mick Schumacher fan. But yeah, I'm hoping the Jeddah circuit is out on the 13th. I mean, my friend actually tweeted saying there's speculation that Jeddah might not even be ready for the real life F1 2021 season, which could actually be, I don't think that'll be a problem. I think Codemasters already have it in the coding. They already have the completed version of the track and what the track would look like when it's completed. So I'm assuming that's what they'll release when the update drops later this month. I'm assuming anyway. So, yeah, we have Xbox Series S now. We have to pay them over a period of time, of course. That won't be a problem. But yeah, that opens up a lot more games and avenues and alternatives to say if I have to go back to console for the games. That's an alternative. All the games I wanted to play, like Jedi Fallen Order, Force Unleashed 1, Force Unleashed 2, some of the games on my bucket list I've yet to do, like maybe Mass Effect, for example, we could just get the console versions. So, you know, it's a great alternative to when the worst happens or if PC breaks. And that's, do you know what? It's exactly the same scenario that why we wanted the PS5. We were probably going to get Xbox Series S's anyway. You know, at the end of the day, I don't think the Uncle and the PCs had any bearing on it. I think at one point we would have bought them anyway. And the reason we went with the S was, one, because it was cheaper. Two, because we didn't really need the X, because there's not much difference between the X and the PS5. I think the only difference is Xbox has more teraflops, the Series X. So, and obviously, I won't feel the benefits right now because I don't have a 1440p monitor. I might get one in the future, but that really depends. So, that's that. We're back on Xbox now, and the other reason is, of course, if English Avenger plays a game that isn't crossplay and is only on Xbox, I have a means to get the and play with him on it, like The Division, for example. I would have happily played The Division with him had I had an Xbox, but I didn't at the time. So, them's that. So the last piece of news, I can't really show to you right now. I mean, I could give you some sort of clue. I don't know if you can see that, but basically, yeah. Recently, I bought this months ago, and basically I bought an Elgato 4K 60 Pro and Mark II. And what I was going to do was, when the PCs got here, I was going to put it in the PC and start using it as a capture card again to capture my stuff. Just, you know, because I was going to have a 1440p monitor and a new PC, and with 4K capture utility on the 4K Pro Mark II, I can play in that resolution and still record at 720p or 1080. So it was a no-brainer to get this card. The 4K Pro Mark II was the one capture card I'd always wanted. I'd always wanted one. I was always going to get one regardless anyway. But I finally installed that into this computer because it doesn't look like new PCs are going to be coming now. So I've put it in mine and I'll use it for the majority of the time this PC has left. It's a bit complicated to set up in terms of PC because my graphics card only has one HDMI cable and I have two monitors. So you can imagine how much of a problem that is. I'm not sure. I think it might be console exclusive for footage for now, and if things change in the future, we can probably use it for all. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, my 4K 60 Pro is now installed. I have a feeling that they may have contributed to the hard drive wipe, although I very much doubt it. I'm not very sure how that happened. I don't think that would be the case, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Now, I will probably take a bit of a break from now and just play stuff casually. I may upload a few things, but I won't be as common over the next couple of weeks or so, because basically I may have to restart Final Fantasy VII at the beginning. Obviously I have to restart F1 2011 as well. So videos might be a bit scarce for a bit. Apex Legends has a new update, I think, tomorrow. So I might be streaming for the next few days. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Because Apex Legends has a new update, and I love that game, so it's a good reason to check it out. So, yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a break, and I'm going to focus on getting the F1 commentator season started. That's basically what I'm waiting for now. I'm waiting for November the 13th, and then I'm going to focus on the commentator season for F1 2021, because that's a series I really want to do this year. I can't wait to do it and to commentate over F1 races. It's been so long in the making. Whatever else comes out will be, before then, will be a bonus. I'll mostly be on stream. I'll also do the introductory and maybe the pre-season part of the Conte arrival for FIFA 22 for the football 2021-2022 football season. And yeah, so I'm going to take a bit of a break. I'm just going to chill for a few days while I wait for that. Do some other stuff in the meantime. And it's time to get back to where I was. So on we go. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a bit longer than I probably intended. We go on. And we push on from here. And surely at one point we'll catch a break. But we'll let you know if we ever do. We may not. Who knows? But I gotta keep smart. We're gonna keep smiling. We're gonna keep doing our thing. And we'll just take every day as it comes. Because that's what me and Tom Lady have always done. Peace out, guys. Stay safe and stay awesome. I'm Simichaos, signing off.